Okay, perfect. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here and welcome to today's workshop. I am Julia, the Pixabay Music Community Manager, and I'm thrilled to have you all with us today. So a little bit more about me. I've been a professional musician for the past 10 years. I've been touring and recording drums for different projects here in Spain, and also worked in festivals and record labels. And today I'll be your host for this session alongside Harry, who is a vocal coach and professional singer. Before we dive into our event, I would like to take a moment to let Harry J introduce himself. So please take the mic and share a bit about you.
Hey guys, thanks for being here. I'm really excited to be walking you guys through all things voice today. Thank you, Julia, for hosting and putting this together. So I'm Harry. I am a professional singer, artist, songwriter, and vocal coach. I live in Los Angeles. I have been a professional musician in the capacity of working with professional clients and releasing music and coaching for the past 10 years since I graduated from high school. I attended and graduated from Berklee College of Music with actually a jazz composition focus. And I moved immediately out to Los Angeles, where I've become since a touring vocalist, a touring artist, and most importantly, which I think is why you're all here, a vocal coach for a lot of kind of Los Angeles's music scene. I specialize in pop and modern music, which a lot of what we're going to go through today is the specialty techniques of modern, I would say, contemporary music, R&B, country, pop, anything in that world. And I've had the privilege of working with and learning from some of the biggest coaches and artists in the world. I've worked with Grammy Award winners. I was able to learn from Dave Stroud, who is a coach that taught Michael Jackson. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here and bring you guys all of the things that I've learned during my 10-year professional journey, and hopefully you guys walk away with some cool information.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Harry. Pixabay is all about connection, exposure, and inspiration for artists. Pixabay is a community of creatives sharing their work with a global audience, giving and receiving feedback, upskilling with educational blogs and workshops, and taking part into events and contests. Artists can also set up their profiles to receive donations or flag that they are available for hire. Designed with creatives in mind, Pixabay offers a range of tools that help artists showcase their work and grow their presence. Artists can engage with others through the platform's forums, where they can receive feedback, comments, and collaborate with fellow creatives. The platform is also designed in a way that users can follow, like, and donate to artists. We also support artists through exposure, like being featured on the website and on social media, and that's really cool because we all know that getting attention in today's world, it's kind of difficult because everyone is on the internet. So that's something cool to check out if you are an artist yourself. We also provide inspiration to users, not only through its abundant content, as you can see, but also through its events like contests, creative prompts, blogs, webinars, or workshops like this one. So if you want to be part of this community, just head over to pixabay.com and you can easily make a free account. And last but not least, for those who aren't already on Pixabay, we invite you to check it out. And yeah, you can check out all the different tools, how you can benefit from it, how you can enhance your own creative practice, find collaborators, or build a portfolio and contribute with your own work. And please reach out to me if you would like any support getting your new profile set up. I'm always here to help. And if you've been around for a little while and you're looking to boost your exposure or improve your creation, let's chat. Now, without further ado, let's go right into the agenda of today's workshop. We will start now with an introduction, and then we will jump right into the heart of the event, in which Harry will explain to us the science of singing and breathing. And he will explain why it is true that actually everyone can sing based on science. Then we will continue with a vocal warm-up session and techniques. We have prepared a useful surprise for everyone, so excited for that. Then we will continue with the other main part, which is discerning what singing advice is useful and which can be harmful and not really practical. That's very important as well. And then we will do a singing challenge So no worries, nobody will be put on the spot. And finally, we will do a Q&A, so you can ask Harry questions. And yeah, now I'll stop sharing my screen and I will let Harry take the lead. So let's go.
All right. Thanks a lot, Julia. Cool. Well, welcome, guys. This is really exciting. So, yeah, let's start with a basic intro and understanding of kind of my tagline, trademark thing that I teach, which is that anyone can learn how to sing. I say that very often. I've made kind of a name for myself on social media for saying that. And people rebuke me all the time. They're like, that's BS. That's not true. That's not. And the main initial takeaway that I want everybody to walk away with is singing is a science. Vocal muscle tissue is the same as muscle tissue anywhere else in your body. So if you want to go get a six pack, you have to go to the gym and you have to do your cardio and you have to eat a certain way and you have to do all these things. And then guess what? 6-7 months down the line, you'll probably start to get that six pack. You'll start to get fit. Singing is no different. I often find that people rebuke that statement if anyone can sing with, well, you know, so and so was born with it, so and so has natural talent. And I can tell you from experience, again, I've been doing this for 10 years professionally. I've worked with people who have won Grammy Awards. I've worked with people who have toured the world multiple times. A lot of them started in the same place that a lot of you probably have started with or are currently starting with. They like to sing and they don't really know what else to do with it. So as we get into the technique here, we're going to discuss kind of the whole chain reaction of how the voice works. It starts with our breath. We have to take in breath properly. We have to release breath properly. We have to use our muscles in our throat properly, our face properly. And I'm also going to go into why the vocal muscles and how the vocal muscles work, why they activate a certain way, and why some people struggle to sing in a certain range while others don't. Now, the only caveat that I always say to people, there is a 4% of the world population that suffers from a condition called amusia. That is, and I think 4% is an overestimate, by the way. I think it's more like 2 or 3. But amusia is medical tone deafness. So everybody says, oh, I'm tone deaf, I can't sing. Tone deaf is this. If you cannot hear that those are different notes, that's medical tone deafness. You can usually hear 4 to 5 tones and that's it. So a lot of people who have medical tone deafness, they speak like this. They have very monotone voices. They don't go up or down with their voice. I find that when most people say, oh, I'm tone deaf, it's just because they haven't trained their ear, which is part of what we're going to discuss today. Now, to just get right into it, the voice works, in my opinion, in a linear chain. We have to take in healthy breath. We have to release the right amount of breath after we take it in properly. We have to activate our vocal muscles properly, and we have to resonate from the top of our face. So it all works upward like this. Now, how many of you have heard the term, y'all can put your hands up or do a thumbs up, breathe from your diaphragm? Is that a term anyone's heard? Thumbs up. I see a couple thumbs up. Yeah, cool. We're going to get into this when we talk about misconceptions of vocal advice, which is another kind of chapter today. That is a correct thing that we have to start with. However, it's a very commonly misunderstood thing. So something that I'd like you guys to experiment here. Let's just put our hands on our rib cage like this. And we're going to try to expand these intercostal muscles underneath our ribs here. We're going to try to breathe in low, and our stomach and our ribs are going to expand. So ready? Like this. Good. Let's try that a few times. Ready? And if you look at my screen, which I think is pinned, I'm expanding like a balloon. Everything is coming out. It's not up, and it's not just my stomach jutting out. It's everything. Now, you can also practice this by lying down on your back and looking up at the ceiling. When you naturally breathe in that way, your intercostal muscles expand. Something I want us to think about is the diaphragm, which is what people say, breathe from your diaphragm. It's a ring that goes underneath your rib cage. When we breathe properly, when we learn to sing, our diaphragm drops and expands. So it's not just pushing out your stomach when you breathe. We want to breathe low and expand this whole area, fill it all up with air. And at the end, your chest might even come up. That's a full breath. Let's think of it like there's a circle around your rib cage and we want to expand 360 degrees like a sphere. We want it all to come out. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? So that's like the first and foremost thing here. In order to understand the science of singing, we have to understand the science of breath. If you breathe into your chest and it gets stuck here, your voice is going to get stuck like that, and then you're screwed. If you breathe with just your stomach, you're probably going to tense your stomach afterward, and then your throat's going to get tense. So we have to relax, breathe low, expand your ribs, your back, your stomach, and then eventually your chest. So that's part one, inhaling. Of the two parts of the breathing mechanism, I think that's the easier one. The one that people get into trouble with is when they exhale or extend their breath outward. So I would like, this is jumping the gun a little bit because we'll do this again in the exercise portion, but I'd like everybody to just breathe low, and we're going to count from 1 to 10 silently. It's going to look like this. Now, I'm not whispering. It's not 1, 2, 3. And I'm not holding my breath. 1, 2, 3. I'm leaking just a little bit of air out of the front of my cords. And I'm just mouthing 1 through 10. And you should almost feel a downward pulsing sensation in your upper 2 abs right here. So I want everybody to try that. Let's breathe in. Yeah, I see someone said dizzy already. We'll get to that. It's not an uncommon problem. But everybody just try it. 1 through 10. Good. Looking, everybody looks good. So once you guys are done, thumbs up or thumbs down. Did everybody feel that sort of pulsing sensation or even a compression sensation up here in the upper 2 abs? It should almost feel, yeah, cool. I see some thumbs up. It should almost feel like you're not pushing all of your air out. Whereas if we were whispering, 1, 2, 3, you're leaking out a lot of air. Now, I see the comment that says dizzy. So that could be a combination of two things. You could be holding too much air back and like not leaking any air, or this happens to me often when I'm retraining my breath, because sometimes I forget and I pick up bad habits again and I have to go back and retrain myself. Your body gets used to doing certain things, right? It is going to take a little bit of effort to break away from the old habits and rebuild the new ones. That can feel like you're not using a lot of air. It can make you feel dizzy. It can make your body feel uncomfortable. That has happened to me before. That air pressure that we feel, pain in my right rib cage. I'll cover all the comments kind of at the end of each section, I think would be a good way to do this. So that style of breathing where we feel a little pulsing sensation here is the type of breathing we need. Wow, 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 wow. So if I want to sing that high note, that's a high G, which for someone with my vocal range, a guy, that is a high pitch. Take it higher. Wow, 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 wow. So let's do it one more time. I see someone says let's repeat it. So here we go. We're going to breathe in. So that's the idea. We're just barely leaking air, and we're mouthing 1 through 10. We should feel like we're holding back a little bit of the breath we could be using in our upper 2 abs right there. When I sing those high notes, that is the sensation that I feel when I am properly activating my breath. So that's the beginning of the chain reaction. We breathe low, we expand the ribs, expand our stomach, expand our back, 360 breath. When we sing, we don't want our first motion to be this. We want it to be, whoa, kind of the way it feels when we do that silent counting. We're almost sinking into this region here and keeping it out and expanded. That's where I think a lot of people get stuck. Now, to further up the chain, so that's it. We take our breath in. Our breath comes through our diaphragm right here, up, 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 and it reaches our larynx. So here's our larynx, Adam's apple. That's where our vocal cords live. Our vocal cords move in a pattern called the mucosal wave. So they move back to front and up and down like this. The way that your vocal cords interact with your air is what we call phonation. So however much air comes up and interacts with the type of motion that your vocal cords are doing gives you the difference between this note and this note and this note and this note. Like they're all different phonations. They're all different combinations of airflow and vocal cord motion. We want to create what we call cord closure. So cord closure, healthy cord closure, basically means we train the vocal cords to only allow a certain amount of air through. So again, here's something I see a lot of people struggle with. We take in breath, we get the breathing texture down, everything looks good, and then we go, you know, la, 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 la. Like the vocal cords are not stopping some of that air from leaking through. That's how we get soft, kind of scratchy, not full sounding voices, squeaky voices, or cracks. A lot of people have this. My. How many of you have that? Where you have like a big giant flip or a big crack? Right, I see a bunch of people, yeah. So learning how to create cord closure, which we'll go through in the vocal exercise portion, teaches us how to stop. It's a secondary layer of stopping excess air from leaking through our vocal cords. So we want to have the right amount of air flowing up from here and then further dilate it here. Now that does not mean we are squeezing our throat like this to try to stop the air. It's not a squeezing sensation at all. It's actually a very easy sensation. The throat stays open. The walls of our throat outside of our vocal cords, again, here's our vocal cords. There's all these muscles, which we'll talk about in a second. We want those to stay relaxed and open and just let the vocal cords naturally create cord closure. So that leads us to our vocal muscles. I don't know why my little presentation went dark. I mean, here it is. So our vocal cord muscles, the muscles in our throat that activate the way the larynx, the house for the vocal cords, interact with our breath are twofold. There are the thyroarytenoid muscles, which run down here, and the cricothyroid muscles. You are never, ever going to need to know these for any reason other than they activate your chest voice or your head voice. Chest voice. Does anybody know what that means if I say chest voice? I see a couple of these. I see a couple. Yeah. Okay. It's really, really easy. Chest voice. If you put your hand right here on your chest, everybody just go, ah, ah, and you'll feel a vibration in your chest. Ah. Now I want everybody to keep your hand on your chest and go like this. Woo! If you do that properly, you shouldn't feel a vibration in your chest, the second one. Woo! So, chest voice, speaking range, call register is another word for it. That's the typical voice that most of us sing in. So when we hear any song on the radio that has a lower texture to it, we're thinking chest voice, speaking range. Head voice is this one. Woo! That's that falsetto, right? Higher voice, think Bee Gees. You can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man. You know, that anything like that, Prince, all that, I ain't got no money. That's all head voice. Our goal in the long run is to learn how to tilt the larynx and to tie it back to those muscles and even the playing field between the thyroarytenoid or TA muscles, and I'll type this in, TA muscles, which is what activates our chest voice, and our CT muscles, our cricothyroid muscles, which activates our head voice. We want to learn to balance these two muscles so that we can sing in a combination of head voice and chest voice, which is also called mixed voice. If we want to sing pop music, I'm assuming most people here are here to learn pop, modern, American R&B, or just modern style of music, right? We need our mixed voice. That's how most of these singers, Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande, Brendan Urie, back in the day, Freddie Mercury, Mariah Carey, they're all using mixed voice. Mixed voice is the combination of those two muscles tilting the larynx a certain way so that we can sing between these two registers. It sounds like this. Here's a chest voice. Ma, ma, ma. It's really rich and meaty, right? This would be this note in head voice. Ma, 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 ma. It's light and airy. Ma. This would be in mixed voice. Ma, 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 ma. It sounds full. It sounds like I'm belting, but I'm not. It's a combination of this and this. So, quick recap, and I know we'll go through all this again. I'm sure we'll get questions. It's a little bit of an information overload. But we breathe in, expand our diaphragm, drop the diaphragm, breathe into this area, 360 breath. Air comes up. We want to stop a little bit of the air. We don't want to push it all out and squeeze it with our silent counting technique. When we get up here, we want to find a way, which we'll do in the exercise portion, to neutralize these two muscle groups so that we can sing in a mixed voice as we pass from our chest voice to the mixed voice up to the head voice. That's our vocal range. That's our vocal register. We want our voice to be one consistent sound. Ooh, where you can't tell where my flip is. There is no flip. There's just one line of voice. That's the idea. That's how we get that pop sound. And we do that through chord closure, which again, I'll give you some exercises to help you understand a little bit further. So far, is everything kind of making sense? I know this is a lot of information. It's a lot of science. The gist of what we're going for. Great. I see a lot of thumbs up. I see a lot of yeses. Awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds more confusing than it is. When we get to the exercise portion, a lot of this will make sense because there's really only a few marquee things that we need to remember. The other big word that we need to remember is resonance. So resonance is how our voice creates sound. Resonance is where our ringing in our voice comes from. If you have a resonant voice, it's usually loud and pingy. There are two words that we want to get in our head. There's resonance and then there's loudness. There is a difference. We don't want to be too loud with our voice. Too loud. If you think of someone, I don't know if anyone's even too young to know, but like Bruce Springsteen, right? Does anybody listen to Bruce Springsteen? Bruce Springsteen, yeah, cool. I see some hands up. That's good. The boss. So Bruce Springsteen had a cool voice for sure, but it was a loud voice. He would blast and blast and push and push and push. And it led to some vocal issues for him. He had to have some different types of training and rebuild his vocal cords, and there were a lot of issues there. We don't want a loud voice. We want a resonant voice. Resonance comes from the mask. So that's the last kind of important piece to all of this. The mask means that we are singing forward as if we were wearing a mask kind of in our space right here. And we want our sound to sound as opposed to my, which is kind of back here. We want it to sound forward and bright. My. Do you guys hear the difference? How much louder that second one sounds? I didn't change the amount of power and air that I'm pushing. I just changed where I'm singing from. So I can sing back here. My. And just change where I'm resonating. My. So there's no difference in pushing. I'm not squeezing, I'm not pushing, I'm not changing the amount of air that I'm singing with. I'm just shifting where my sound is coming from. So that's the final piece to all of this. Breath. All the way up here. Chord closure, neutralizing our muscles, finding our range between our chest and our head voice, singing through our mask. Now, someone said resonance is over projection. Unfortunately, that can be the case. I do see a lot of teachers teach this. They go, cram everything in your nose and try to sing that way. If you're actually learning resonance properly and singing forward, doing that cramming sounds forward is not healthy. That does actually destroy the way you're supposed to sing. However, I also see a lot of teachers teach singing way back here and pushing your throat down like this so you sound dopey. That's also not healthy for you. We want to find
fair enough.
Yeah, we want to find a nice, comfortable balance, right? Between a resonant spot, but not a crammed spot. We never want to cram the sound forward in our face, and we never want to cram the sound back here either. So let's just do this real quick because I saw a couple questions about the belly breathing thing, and I see that a couple people are a little bit confused about that. So this is a technique that takes a lot of time. It's very difficult. What I would recommend you all do, if you're struggling to get the belly and the ribs to expand, after this class, lie down on your back go in your bed, on your couch, on the floor, wherever you're comfortable, and look up at the ceiling and take 10 deep inhales. You'll notice your breath and your stomach immediately start to expand, and your ribs will expand, and you might even feel your lower back kind of pushing into the floor a little bit. When we're lying down, our diaphragm automatically releases when we breathe. When we're standing up, I think just conditioning, we're so used to breathing this way. When you lie down on your back and practice that breath feeling, and then you sit up and you try to recreate it, you'll learn the 360 breath technique. It takes practice. This is not something that happens right away, which kind of does lead me into my final point of this module of the class here, which is all of this stuff, the technique, the breathing, the cord closure, the exercises, all the stuff we're going to do. This is not something that happens overnight. So when I say I work with people who have literally been nominated for Grammy Awards and they started at a point where they couldn't sing, they worked at it for like 6, 7, 8 months. This is not a quick, none of this vocal stuff, which again, we'll also get into in the bad vocal advice section of the course today. But a lot of people will tell you like, oh, do these exercises and in 5 minutes. And like, I get it. And like, we all say that stuff because it's true. In 5 minutes, you can feel something, but you're not going to learn to become like an incredible, amazing Ariana Grande level singer in 5 minutes. It takes months and months. So these techniques, if you don't get them right away, I encourage you to just keep going and going and going and practicing them. The breathing one is very difficult. You have to recondition the way that you inhale your breath. So lie on your back, look up at the ceiling, inhale 10 times, sit up, try to do it then. Can't do it? Okay, cool. Lie down again. Cool, I feel my stomach expanding and my ribs expanding. Okay, I'm going to sit up. Cool, I got it that time. Slow, slow, slow. And the last thing I'll say, and then we'll switch to the exercise portion here, is with the exhale portion, the silent counting, the same rules apply. I want you guys to just practice that every day a little bit. All you need to focus on is, am I pushing air out? 1, 2, 3. Or am I just kind of leaking a little bit of air? We want the leaking air. We want it to just drift out a little bit and mouth 1 through 10. So these all take time. We will go through sort of the exercise portion here, how we're going to do it. But I think that's a good overview of the vocal science and the breathing science. They're all very connected. And I will tell you from experience, learning how to breathe with your diaphragm, learning how to extend breath with your diaphragm, you'll notice other areas of of your life. You'll notice other areas of your life. You'll feel so much better. You'll start to take in more breath. So if you guys work out, when I go to the gym now, I'm able to lift weights and maintain my energy level, and like I don't feel so like, oh my god, I'm so exhausted, because I'm breathing better. I'm taking in more oxygen. When I run, I play in a soccer league. When I play sports with my friends, I'm able to keep going much quicker because, and for much longer, I've trained my body to take in more air. So the science of breathing is just as important as the vocal science here. So with that being said, let's shift gears here and let's go into the exercise portion. So this is probably the part that people are going to be find the most benefit from. I think a useful way to do this is, let's have everybody on mute, and I'm going to take you guys through some exercises, and I'm going to kind of, I would probably say I'll call people in, like most of my guys in the class here, you're going to start lower, my. Most of my gals in the class, you might start my. I'll kind of say like, okay, maybe like female singers come in here, guy singers might want to drop out here, but I want you to go where you feel comfortable. If you feel like you can hit a low note or a high note, and I've already said guys drop out, girls drop out, whatever, do what feels comfortable to you. So the breathing exercise portion, I would like you guys to do the belly breath looking up at the ceiling, and then the silent counting like 10 times a day. Like, be really diligent with that. Now, we can do this next exercise, and this is where we bring the voice in. We can do this with a straw, which I have right here. And that might be something that we have a separate discussion on, but I'd actually like us to start with, we're going to puff our cheeks out like this. So everybody kind of just puff your cheeks out. It's not a big feeling. It's not like you're really, really tight. It's just, and I want everybody to just go, Just kind of float around in there. Everybody just do that for a second. We're trying to make the cleft under our nose, I don't want to say vibrate, but we're singing as if we're singing through there. So, good. Now, let's start here with my guys. And again, anyone with a higher voice, girls, guys with a higher voice, anyone, you know, that sings with a higher register, if you feel like you can hit the low note, do it. But let's start here. We're going to breathe low and very lightly. So everybody just try that. It's a very soft sound. It's not it's and here. Now, two things to keep in mind. When we are learning this mixed voice concept that I discussed, our first order of business is to find a healthy transition from chest voice to head voice. So we're not going to immediately get this voice up here. It's going to take some time. So when we transition, as we get higher, let's see if we can just find a healthy here. That's head voice for me, very soft voice. Let's just see if we can transition our chest to our head voice. My audio signal, yes. Let me see. Is it the piano that's too loud, or is it that's too quiet, or is it my voice? Let's see if I can get the piano a little bit louder. That might be a little bit better. Cool. Yeah, I see some thumbs up. Okay. So same idea though. We want to be chest voice up into a lighter voice and back down without a flip. So let's try it here. Very light. And here. I would recommend everybody jumps in here if you haven't started with the low notes. And then here. Very soft. We're not pushing that bottom voice. We're just trying to meet the two in the middle. And here. And right here, again, that sound. It's not. I'm not pushing a lot of air like we said in the breathing section. I'm just floating. It's very soft. We never want to sing. Someone made a comment about like resonance being over projection. And like I said, I agree. If we're cramming sound forward, if we're pushing sound forward, we're going to over project and hurt our voice. So just be very soft and just try to sing right through here. Do my upper and lower teeth touch what? That's a really good question. No, I'm not touching my teeth. I'm almost keeping my jaw about, if a thumb were in there, about that far apart. Maybe a little closer than that, but they're not like this. It's like. Let's try here. Ready? And here. And let's do one more here. Cool. Everybody feel okay about that one? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Cool. It's a very light exercise. We're just trying to connect our two voices. Now, the reason that the puffy cheek thing works, as opposed to just singing, when we puff our cheeks, or like I said, you can use a straw too. When we do something that closes the space, our air is not entirely able to leak out of our mouth. Versus if we go ah and all of our air shoots out. If we do this, there's a lot of air trapped in here, right? That air trapped in here creates a sensation that we call back pressure. That air circulates down into our throat and opens the walls of our throat. So when that air cannot escape out, it becomes useful and circulates here, opens up those muscles, the TA muscles and the CT muscles. It keeps them out of the way of our larynx. We want to learn how to sing with this at all times. We don't want those muscles super activated and squeezy. So for those of you, in fact, raise your hand if you ever tried to sing a note and your head goes up like this, right? Or you get tight, your muscles get tight. Yeah, I feel like everybody has that at some point. When I see that, it means that those thyroarytenoid, those TA muscles are too active. This will push them out of the way. So we want to practice with this. It keeps that throat open and neutral. If you start seeing this happen, you won't even be able to make a sound. So that's the back pressure exercises. Semi-occluded, mouth closed. Straws are good for that. The puffy cheek. I'm not going to teach you guys this one, but it's a good one to do the like lip trills. Those are really, really good. Now, let's open up on an ooh. And I want everyone to find an ooh vowel in an O shape. So, ooh, ooh. It's not ooh, because again, we don't want to cram things forward. It's just ooh. Everybody just try to find that sound. Ooh, it can be anywhere in your range that you're comfortable with. Ooh, ooh. Now, we're going to take this up a scale. And we have 2 goals during this scale. Every exercise, we have a specific goal in mind. Goal number 1 for this is we want to breathe low and try to keep our rib cage and our stomach expanded while we go. So we don't want to see this. Ooh, you can see I'm sinking in like a Capri Sun, like a juice box. Ooh, we don't want that. I want ooh, I'm staying expanded. Ooh. That's goal number 1, is to try to keep those breathing muscles expanded the whole time. Goal number 2 is again to match the low note volume, the chest voice volume, with the upper note volume, the head voice. So we don't want ooh. We want to try to start ooh, soft and end in the range that's comfortable, that meets in the middle. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Cool. So let's try it. O-shaped mouth. Again, it helps that air circulate out. If we're crammed like this, too tight, we're screwed. That's going to create tension, which the next exercise will discuss tension. But here we go. So whoever feels comfortable with the low note here, let's start. Ooh. We're just trying to hand the sound off. Ooh. Good. 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 Do I have any brave souls who want to take a stab at this in front of everybody? Does anybody want to try this and I'll give you real-time feedback? One person. Just
if you'll give me real-time feedback, I'll do it,
yes.
because I don't know what's going on. I can't get it. So I really need feedback.
Here, who's is it? It's Alice. I see you, right? That's you.
Yeah.
Let's do
But
it.
I need a lot of help.
Let's do it. That's what I'm here for. So
Okay.
let's start with the O shape. And just give me ooh.
Ooh.
Good, good. Now try to keep that space. I see closing a little bit. Ooh, whole way through. Good, perfect. Now, let's bring you up here. Ooh, can you find that note? Ah, so you're in the upper octave. Ooh, let's find it low in your speaking range. Ooh, good. Now, first thing we're going to do without the notes is ooh, just do a big flip. Ooh. So find that note for me. Ooh. I can't hear you for some reason.
Ooh,
Huh? You're like cutting out. Ooh.
ooh,
There. Good. 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 Okay, gotcha. So try to bring your voice ooh up to that high one that you found earlier. Ooh, and try to touch them.
ooh.
Now,
Is
can
there
you
someone else in the back? Is someone else doing it with me? I thought I heard someone else's voice.
maybe? I don't think everybody just make sure you're on mute for this. Other than Alice and myself here. So you got the right idea. Now, the main goal I want you to try to hit is starting in your speaking range. I'm having a conversation. Ooh, ooh,
Ah,
ooh. Yeah, so do the
ooh,
ooh, ooh.
ooh,
And then
ooh,
bringing that up into this voice up here and back down. Ooh.
ooh,
So all the way up. Ooh.
ooh,
There. Perfect. Now, do your best.
ooh.
That's it. So do your best to try to connect these notes. And for right now, if the notes don't happen right away, that's okay. That's the practice portion. Ooh. Try to have that same connection.
Are you gonna play or just
Yeah,
gonna do it on my
I'll sing it here. Maybe my piano's cutting out for some reason.
own? Okay.
Ooh,
Ooh, ooh,
ooh, ooh.
ooh, 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 ooh.
So, can you finish down in chest? Ooh, finish in the speaking voice.
Ooh, ooh. There's
Oh, I
somebody
do.
else there. Who else
I
is
do hear
there?
somebody else singing. Yeah, everybody, please make sure you're on mute just so I can go through this. Um, so one more time.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh,
Ooh.
ooh, ooh,
Yes.
ooh.
Okay. Correct. You got it. Now, your homework would be when you listen back, because I think everybody should get a recording of this. When you listen back and you hear yourself, you'll hear ooh, 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 ooh,
That
ooh.
not connected.
That bottom note is just coming in a little too heavy. And that means, to tie back to the muscle thing, those chest voice muscles, the TA muscles, they're working a little bit too hard. We want our lower register, our chest voice, to soften up. So a lot of people think when they hear like country music, it's a lot of people singing in chest voice. We don't need our chest voice to be like pushed and really, really loud. So I would tell you, you got the notes perfectly. That was really, really great.
It
And you
was
did the
really
transition.
difficult to go down. That's why it was so hard.
Yes.
I couldn't do it right, smoothly.
So the more you practice at a soft volume, it might even start like this. You might get this happen first. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There'll be like crackles and like weird stuff going on. That's very normal. Your muscles in your throat are trying to work it out. They're trying to learn what's going on. This is the same as like I use this analogy a lot. If you go to the gym and you do bicep curls and you pick up a 40-pound dumbbell and you've never done bicep curls before, the only way you're going to be able to lift that is if you use your whole body like this. That's kind of what your voice is doing right now. It's like trying to use everything, ooh, ooh, and like push it all out. So when you do the light dumbbells, at first it's going to be hard because you're like, oh my God, this is way harder than I thought. That's what's happening. We need to have those little crackles and uncomfortable spots while you learn to hit the note in a softer voice. Ooh. If you work on that over time daily and focus on softening that first voice to meet the volume of the other ones, over time it will connect. Because
Can
your
I try
notes
it
are
once
great.
more?
Please, absolutely. Ooh,
Ooh,
ooh.
ooh,
See, now
ooh.
it's already starting to work itself out. It's starting to flatten it out a little bit. That's great. And your notes are really, really good. You got the pitch as well.
Thank
So
you.
I would tell you, if you do that every day for 3 weeks, let's see if there's a difference. You come back to it and you're like, ooh, oh, I feel the transition now.
Thank you.
Great job. Really, really good.
Thank you.
Um, okay, so let's keep going here. Let's do a couple more. Everybody keep going with me here. And kind of like I said to Alice, let's try to just connect, drop the volume of that first one. Now we're going to take this back down the scale, a couple notches here. So Let's do a couple more. I want to do one. I see that this is in the warm-up guide that was shared. I do this a very specific way. It's the mama sound. So now, where we get to forward resonance and chord closure, those are the two things that we're going to cover now. That was what we discussed in the earlier module. People, like I said, think forward resonance is like closing your nose and singing into there like this. It's not. We just want to get our sound a little bit more rounded out in the front here. So everybody say, mama, kind of like you're whining. Mama. And like make the face, mom, mama. Does anybody know who Brendan Urie is from Panic at the Disco? Yes, good. I see hands up. That's good. He is like the master of this. He's always singing with the whine. If you love me, let me go. Like that's how he gets that whiny sound, and it's forward. It's bright. It's in his mask. So let's start it here. We're gonna go ma ma ma. Just kind of whine it out a little bit, and think like we're biting an apple. That sound is going right up here. Ma ma ma. Ma ma ma. And a constant goal, let me just remind you guys, through all of these exercises, keep these breathing muscles out. Ma ma ma. Good. Ma ma ma. Same idea. If we have to start a little softer to connect ma ma ma, that's fine too. Let's just whine it. Ma ma ma. Ma ma ma. Good. Ma ma ma. Now here comes where we're gonna really try to connect. Chest, head, voice, chest. Ma ma ma. Good. Two more. Ma ma ma. And last one. Ma ma ma. Now, whining like that, getting that face. If we look at Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande, Brendan Urie, any of these big powerhouse, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, any powerhouse vocalist, if you watch enough videos of them, you'll see this. They have this face, right? They're kind of whining into their mask. Again, it's like we're wearing a mask and we're singing into the mask. Very, very common practice. Do not be afraid to use that face. Now, we don't want to scrunch it so much that we sound like this. We want what's called velopharyngeal. Again, you're not going to ever need to know this word. Nasal airflow. So not nasal like this, nasal airflow. There's air coming through the nose and out of the mouth. That we get from this whiny sound. So another way you can practice this is you can literally just go, and try to again, let's do the head voice to chest voice thing. And there's not even a note in that, just everybody do that a couple times. Yeah, I see some good, that's the face I want to see, everybody. And then you kind of go, wah. I see some people laughing and I love it. I always tell my clients this. I had a guy who was about to go, literally he was going to go on a world tour. And I was teaching these exercises and he goes, dude, I can't do that in front of like everyone on my label. Like I can't do that. And I'm like, you have to. Half of singing lessons is making weird noises. Like that is like the whole job. So one more time. Ma, ma. Just whiny, whiny. Good. Okay, we're going to do two more, then we're going to move on. So that so far gives us some breathing exercises, some forward placement exercises, some mixed voice exercises, connecting the voice. Now we're going to talk about chord closure. So this is that idea I discussed earlier where we need to train our vocal cords to naturally not let a ton of air go through. We don't want to squeeze our throat to do this. We want it to be natural. So everybody, I'd like us to make a very staccato, very jumpy goog, 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 G-O-O-G, goog, 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 and just do that a few times. It's almost like a kick drum. Goog, 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 goog. But again, we're doing it light. I don't want goo, goo. It's not pushy. Goo, 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 goo. Now, same exercise that we did with the ooh, that thing. We're going to do the same scale, same idea. We're keeping our stomach and ribs out. We're going chest voice to head voice. But goo, 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 goo. We're going to add the goog into it. So let's do that together and then I'll explain why. So here we go. Ready? Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Here's really head voice. So for those of you who might be struggling with this one, where to turn your voice into the woo, I do it early. Goog, chest voice, goo, goo. That's head voice. Goo, 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 goo. I turn it very early. When we learn to sing, we want to learn to rotate to the head voice early. Goo, 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 goo. And let's come back down. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. And one more. Now the chord closure part of this, g, the combo of, we call it a phoneme, a vowel and a consonant relationship. The g and the oo together, goo, 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 is closing your vocal cords, and it closes them the right amount. So that natural sound, goo, 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 is actually how we want to feel our air kind of flowing through our cords all the time. I do this exercise. I am not kidding. I've been a professional singer for 10 years. I do it every day. Still to this day. I woke up before the class today. I took a shower. I was doing it in the shower. My wife thinks it's nuts. I'm sure I drive her crazy. But that is the whole thing. We are all goo, 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 goo. I do it all the time because it reinforces healthy chord closure. It reinforces the right amount of air stoppage. That's one of these hidden exercises that a lot of coaches teach. You don't even have to think about it, and it's going to do something healthy for your voice as long as you're keeping your breathing muscles out and you're transitioning from chest to head voice. Now, last one we're going to go over here. This is one of those exercises that I think people are confused about how to do properly. The only other thing that I see with a lot of new singers that causes them problems is tension. We have two main types of tension when we sing. We have tongue tension and jaw tension. Now, tongue tension, I want everybody to put your thumb under here, under your chin, push up, and just swallow. Do you guys feel like a hardness? Yeah, right, hardness. So when we have a hardness, that is the bottom of our tongue bunching up and pulling on the back of our airway. A lot of times when people sing, la, we'll feel that hardness under here. So everybody just try that. La, you might feel some hardness. So that's step one. We got to get that out of the way. So I often will work out when I start to get tense, especially because I live in Los Angeles. There's been, unfortunately, these awful fires and the air quality has been really bad. My throat's been dry. When our throats are tired and the air is bad and all these things, our tongues want to help really badly. They want to help us sing, and they want to grip and grip and grip and all these things. We want to train them to get out of the way. Now, the other type of tension we have is jaw tension. There's a muscle right back here, connects the jawbone, the masseter muscle, right? This right here. That gets very tense when we sing. An easy way to release that, I want everybody to pretend like they're chewing gum, like really over chew it, and hum. So we're going to combine forces here. Let's get all this loosened up, and we're just going to go. Now you might feel a little fluctuation here. We just don't want it to feel like a rock. We just want it to feel as soft as we can make it, right? So here we go. We don't take this one up too high. We're just trying to train the body to relax. Two more. Last one right here. So that's 5 exercises. What am I doing with my hand? So remember, I'm pushing up on my tongue here. Yeah, so definitely feeling the hardness in the higher notes. Really like try to get that out of there. Like work on it. It's an uncomfortable feeling at first, and this is why I say this one's misunderstood. Some vocal coaches are like, never touch here and never do. You have to find a way to train your body that it doesn't need to help you. So sometimes just a simple reminder, ooh, get that tongue out of there. When I used to have really bad tongue tension, I would often, and I would push and just try to find a way. I don't want to say push, that's a bad word. I would sing and try to get any type of feeling where I could sing without this hardness there. Sometimes by sort of like working it out and massaging it and relaxing that area, eventually over time, that tongue will realize like, oh, I don't have to do anything at all. This one takes a lot of time. Tension is built up in who here English is your primary language? Okay, great. Who has a job or thing where they speak a lot? You're talking all day. Okay, that's good. I see mostly no. That's a good thing. English as a language is very guttural. We say we're using a lot of sounds, a lot of consonants. Whereas Spanish, Italian, French, they're more vowel-based languages. English and German, those two, we have a lot of tongue tension when we speak English and when we speak German. It takes a long time to unlearn these habits. My speaking voice got healthier after I stopped using tongue tension. So that's another exercise where I would say, take your time with this. If you can get a win where just like, oh, I noticed yesterday this note was tense and now it's not. This one, is tense and now it's not. This one was tense and now it's not. We just want to see if we can improve every week 1 or 2 notes, because we're so used to speaking with tension, especially English speakers and German speakers. It's going to take some time to undo it. Those are 5 exercises right there that will really, really, really help you. So we have breathing, connecting our voice registers, chord closure, singing in the mask, and releasing tension. I think I would tell you those 5, if you do those 5 exercises in order and you stay light, we're not pushing, we're not squeezing, we're not feeling pain, for like 2 months, you will absolutely see vocal improvement and feel vocal improvement. You won't feel squeeze in your throat. Trish says, for me, the best part about voice training is the body awareness and exercise. I didn't realize this class was going to be. So, yeah, so this is the thing. Like, when I started really training my voice professionally, so many things in my body got healthier. My breathing got better. I started being able to work out better. My speaking voice I asked who has a job that speaks a lot. I'm obviously a vocal coach. I'm talking all day. I'm teaching 7-8 lessons a day. I can get through those lessons with no problem now because my speaking voice has gotten so much healthier. This will improve your mind-body connection to your voice and to the breathing part of your body, like your diaphragm, your intercostals, so much. And it's going to help you in so many ways that you like don't even realize. So I'd like you guys to try to do those every day. I know Julia also sent a warm-up guide, which is great. We have a lot of options for you guys to mess with. The main thing I would say, the main focus for everybody is keep those breathing muscles out and engaged and stay light. We are not trying to push or squeeze. So let's move on to the advice section here. This is an important, we discussed this at length before we planned this seminar. This is a really, really difficult one, and I have some things written here that I want to pull up. How many of you have heard singing advice on the internet that you think is not helpful for you? It can even be from me. You can even say, oh, I saw one of your videos and it didn't work, right? And I'm sure everybody's seen something. It is extremely difficult with our society today. We have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We have all these different platforms where basically anybody can say whatever the hell they want. And especially like a vocal coach, there's no certification that you need to get to become a vocal coach. I went to Berklee College of Music and studied voice for 10 years. There's a guy that I know that's a vocal coach that has only been singing for 2 years. Like, there's no, you don't have to go to medical school. You don't have to go to law school. There's no like, you don't have to go to music school. It can be very, very difficult to discern what is good advice and what is bad advice. So what I will tell you is there are sort of 3 things that I look for when I hear vocal advice to decide if it's good advice or bad advice. The first one, this is so important, and I really urge all of you to do your homework and your research on who you're getting your advice from. Does the teacher sing? I cannot tell you how many freaking vocal coaches and people that teach voice do not sing themselves. There are no videos of them singing. There's no evidence that they've ever sung at a professional level. I would not take singing advice from somebody who has not sung at a professional level. That might seem obvious. You might be like, well, yeah, duh. I've seen people posting TikTok videos and it's like they're college students. They've never sung. They have never sung in any professional capacity. You need to do your homework on what type of voice you want to learn and who is teaching that type of voice. So kind of part B of part 1 here. Take advice from a coach that you know can sing in the style that you want. Has anyone heard of Ken Tamplin? Does anyone know who that is? Maybe not. He's a very famous vocal coach from he's on YouTube, but he's been around for a while. He's like a rock singer. He teaches rock, gritty, hard rock, metal. He's really, really good at teaching that style. Same as Stevie Mackey, incredible vocal coach, really good at R&B. If you want to learn rock tips, I would go to Ken Tamplin. If you want to learn R&B, I would go to Stevie Mackey. I see a lot of students who just take generic advice from anything they can find on the internet, and they come to me and they go, well, I want to sound like Usher, but I saw this guy Ken Tamplin and now my voice is all gravelly. Well, yeah, you're going to the wrong place. So the first piece of advice in discerning whether advice is good or not, does the teacher sing and do they teach the style and sing the style that you want? There are many different types of singing: opera, rock, country, pop, R&B. Anything but opera is kind of under the same pop blanket, but they take different approaches. Number 2, is it an all or nothing piece of advice? Singing is not a one size fits all approach. I have a course that I released, and I say it in the course. There are going to be exercises that you like, and there are going to be some that you don't like. Not every exercise works for every singer. So even the things that we just did, if a week goes by and you're doing the and you're like, man, this is really not, I'm not getting it. That's okay. Maybe that's just not the right exercise for you. I do think that's why courses and seeing coaches and doing seminars like this, it's important to learn from people so that you can put together a plan that works for you. If the voice does not feel right, if it feels painful, and I don't mean right away, it's going to take some time to learn. If you're doing the same exercise for 2 months and it still feels really, really painful, it's probably not the right exercise for you. if you have someone that is, and like in the social media world, like we have people, oh man, like this will definitely help your voice. These are exercises that do help a lot of people's voices. But for you, when you are deciding your vocal routine, if you've been doing the same exercise for a long time and it is causing pain and discomfort, dump it. It's not the right exercise for you. If you have a teacher that says, my way is the only way, bye, time to go, see ya. That's just not true. Because, there's a style of singing called bel canto. It's more classical Italian opera. And there's a style of teaching called speech level singing. That's like Michael Jackson. That's mixed voice. They're very, very different. I have clients that have come to me and I've said, the speech level thing is not going to work for you right now. We need to do bel canto. And I hear them say, oh, well, my old teacher said that doesn't work and blah, 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 and that's this and that's that. You have to be a detective of your own voice. What style of exercise works for you? And as a coach, if you're taking advice from someone or you're paying somebody from lessons, if they're telling you this is the only way that works, this is the only way, and it's like months are going by and you're not getting any improvement, then they're not useful. It's not a useful, like, they have to be, a good coach has to be adaptable to their client's voice. So anyone that says my way or the highway forever, 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 forget it. I see that in videos, and that's fine, because in videos we only have 20 seconds sometimes to give a piece of advice, and it's like hooky, and I get it. But when you're paying a coach and getting advice from a coach, if they are not willing to adapt over a period of time, if you're struggling with something, they're not the right coach for you. Okay, number 3, this is like a really, really important one. Breathing-based advice. I swear the worst advice I get on the internet that I ever hear people talk about is the breathing stuff. Breathe from your diaphragm. People say breathe from your diaphragm. The only advice I ever see on the internet about breathing from your diaphragm is this. Just sticking your stomach out, pushing your stomach out as much as you can. The diaphragm, like I explained, is this. It's a ring underneath your rib cage that goes all the way around here. It drops when we breathe. This all has to expand. Everything, your stomach, your ribs, your back, your chest, it all expands. When I see people talk about, oh, just push your stomach out and tighten and tighten and tighten, that is the worst advice you could ever get. Leads me to part 2 of that. When I see people saying, squeeze your abs to sing, squeeze your stomach, use your stomach, squeeze, use those. Don't ever, that is bad advice. I am not kidding, 4 clients in the last year that have come to me and they start doing lessons, 2024. They all started lessons with me. Every single one of them had this same issue. They would sing, there'd be like a hole in their voice. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? They all came from teachers that said, breathe into your stomach and then squeeze it like a Capri Sun. Use those muscles, squeeze, tighten your abs. It's like an ab workout. There is a legitimate physical connection between your stomach and your throat. Everybody go like this. Breathe in and go, and kind of like tighten your stomach. You'll feel your throat squeeze. If you're singing with your throat squeezed like that and your stomach squeezed, you're going to hurt yourself. So when I see people say, breathe into your stomach, then squeeze it, do not listen to that. That is terrible advice. And I said the 4 students, all of them I sent them all to a ear, nose, and throat doctor, and they did a scope. Every single one of them had nodes on their vocal cords. Every single one. One of them required surgery. 3 of them vocal rest, they went away. Do not squeeze your stomach. That is just, we want that downward pulsing. Your pelvic floor muscles are kind of pulsing. We don't want squeeze. Any coach that tells you that you should feel like something is a workout, like an ab workout, forget that. That was taught back in the 70s when particularly opera singers didn't have microphones. They had to blast their voice as loud as they could into a wooden room that was built like a soundstage so it could echo out. We don't have to do that anymore. We do not have to hurt our voices to sing. That's the biggest piece of advice that I always see people give. You squeeze your stomach and suck it in. That is garbage. Garrett says, what about singing advice from a speech therapist? That's a really, really hard one. I have seen a couple speech therapists that I've worked with for my business over the years that I've sent clients to. One of them is a singer, and he actually went to Berkeley also and studied voice. One of them has never sung a day in her life. Again, you have to do your own research a little bit. I'm just going to tell you, singing, coming from someone who studied music in college, I went to like a very high achieving academic environment for music. I've studied with some of the best coaches in the world. Singing is not something that you can learn from a book. So people who go to medical school, which I think you have to go to medical school to be a speech therapist. There is like at least an extra few years of training. At least the two that I've worked with are they're MDs. So you can't learn how to sing well by reading a book and going to college. You have to practice and be able to sing. So my advice would extend to that in the sense that if this person does not sing and you don't know if they can sing, I wouldn't take singing advice from them. Speaking advice, sure. They're very similar, but they're not the same. I don't want to hear, in fact, one of my friend who is a great speech therapist who I do send people to, and he's a singer, he's the one that studied voice. Even he says to me, he's like, hey, send them to me to teach them how to speak. I'll send them to you to teach them how to sing. I don't want to teach people how to sing in mixed voice because I haven't sung professionally in 20 years. That's a good speech therapist right there. They're very different. They're very different like modalities. How many of you guys, this might be too personal, how many of y'all have ever done any kind of therapy before? Anyone ever done therapy before? I do therapy all the time. I love therapy. There's like 5 different types of therapy, right? There's like cognitive behavioral therapy and internal family systems and EMDR and all these things, right? I don't want to learn how to do cognitive behavioral therapy from a therapist who's only ever done EMDR. It's the same thing. So just think you have to do your research into who you're getting your advice from. What about someone who's just starting? Because most people have a bad voice naturally. So in terms of taking in advice, what I would tell you is look for, in fact, this is a good, maybe one other good thing I can end on, and then we'll move on to the singing challenge. When you're starting out, anybody who says, my plan in, if you buy my course and in 1 week, you'll be blah, 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 blah. Not good advice. Like that's someone that's trying to sell you a bill of goods. I tell all of my private students when I see them, and I've said it in my course, it will take minimum of 1 month to see improvement. It will take about 6, 7, or 8 months to really see significant improvement. When someone tells you, if you buy my course or you sign up for like one lesson for me and it's like $1,000, like some people are like, oh, do $1,000 lesson with me and it'll change your voice. Do not listen to that. I've worked with coaches who say, oh, trust me, just do my one 30-minute lesson for $500 and it'll fix everything. And it's like a waste. You go do the lesson and you're like, what the hell is this? It takes time. Anybody who tells you that this does not take time is lying to you. There are courses, I say it in my course that I sell, yeah, in a month you'll feel improvement, but that doesn't mean you're going to be Ariana Grande in 1 month. It's going to take a long time. So I tell people just beware of anyone who says my way is the only way, and if you do one class with me it'll change your life, and buy my $5,000, like if someone's selling a course for like $1,000 or something, it's like, come on, man, like I get it, there's a business part to it, but like I see some of these people selling things for like $6,000 and they're saying, oh, just do it once and it'll make you, like that's not how singing works. It takes a long time. I will answer the private student questions at the end because we'll go over some stuff. How about we move on to the singing challenge? So I like to use this song as a singing challenge for my students. Does anybody know Feeling Good, the Nina Simone song? Birds flying high, you know how I feel. I really, really like this song for teaching people how to sing. Specifically because it opens up, and we didn't get to talk about this too much, but it utilizes good vowel placement. So like I said with the English language thing, we want to sing with vowels. Birds flying high, not birds flying high. Like we don't want to be So here's my little singing challenge. I'm going to walk you all through the first line of that song. I'm going to teach you exactly how I would sing it. And I would love, how are we on time here? 2 volunteers maybe to give it a shot, and I'll give you some feedback in real time. How does that sound? Good to everybody? So, we'll do it in the key of F sharp minor. So, when we're singing the first line, birds flying high, I don't want us to think birds flying high. We're going to think ah. Birds flying high. Give me a little bit of a British kind of birds. Birds flying high. Good. Now, high. Here's a trick that gets people into trouble. A diphthong is a vowel that it's 2 vowels put together. Ha-e, I-e. We bite on the I-e. I don't want to bite on I-e. I want to think ah. Birds flying high. Ha, ha, ha. And then at the very end, high. You know how I feel. Now with that E, we're going to think I. Feel. Instead of feel. Feel. I. It's still masky. It's still E, but it's not E where we're cramming the sound forward. So let's think ah. Birds flying high. Now, y, o, I. You know how I feel. So everybody try that on your own, those 2 lines. Good. Now, sun in the sky. Sun in the sky. Let's think to ah. Sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Good. And same thing. Ill. The idea here as we go is the taller the vowel sound, the more we can open the jaw, not cram it open, but keep it open, the better it's going to sound. If we say, sun in the sky, you know how I feel, that's going to be gross. We don't want that. So, breeze, here's the head voice, right? Breeze, breeze. Everybody try to find that. Let's keep the jaw open. I see some people squeezing here. Breeze. Good, that looks good, guys. Breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. So everybody, I want you guys on your own, muted, to try those 4 lines. And I'll sing it too right here. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. Now this is the easiest part. It's a new ah. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life. We're not going to say life. We're going to say life. It's a new life for me. For me. And I'm feeling good. So any E sound, we want to think I. Any word like day or by, anything that has 2 vowels together, we want to focus on the first part of the sound. Like that. Does that all make sense to everybody? Can we have, well, let's do this. Everybody try it on your own. Just looking through everybody here, make sure everybody feels pretty good about it. Okay, great. Everybody go through it on your own. And then let's have 2 volunteers. I would love 2 volunteers if you want to try to do it real quick, and I'll give you guys some feedback. So everybody give you a minute here. Let's try it out. Focus on those open vowels. And I'll sing it too. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. I got the 2 volunteers right away. Awesome. Thank you guys. That is great. Everybody feel good about that? Everything makes sense? We're feeling comfortable? Someone's feel pretty good? Okay. Feeling good, no pun intended. All right. So let's do Benedict. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, all right. I'll give it a try.
All right. I see you right here. Excellent. So why don't you start? Let's just see where we're at, and we'll break it down.
Yeah. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel.
Yes.
Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good.
Woo! Dude, crushed. I got
I'm
2.
trying.
You sound great. You got a great voice, man. You sound great. 2 easy things that we can do to. So let's think about those diphthongs, right? I heard a little bit of birds flying high. E. Ha. So let's do this. Think like every ah or a sound, we're biting into an apple. Ah. Birds flying high. And at the very end, we take the bite. So try that for me. Birds flying high.
Birds flying high.
Yes, much better. When you so you have a great voice. First of all, your tone is really, really warm, and it sounds great. You are depriving people of your excellent tone when you close down too early. Because here's the difference. Birds flying high. It's gone.
Yeah.
Sounds over. Versus high. You had some vibrato right there. Sounds really good. Let that ring out. Feel. Same thing. You didn't bite the feel, but you cut it off too early. You know how I feel. Let that sound ring. Try it.
You know how I feel.
Good. And then I. You know how you know how I feel.
You know how I feel.
Yes. Any word that has I-E, let's get the E for the most part out of there. Because again, E, if you think about, like, just go like this, E. It's that masseter muscle again. It's tight. It's preventing natural resonance. Now, let's get the little riff that you did. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. Try that for me.
Breeze drifting on by.
Yes.
You know how I feel.
Can you scoop breeze? Breeze drifting on, and give me a hard flip. Breeze drifting on by.
Breeze, breeze drifting on by.
Yes. That's it.
All right.
Little scoopies in there, really. Now, you had form. What was the riff that you did? It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. That was it, right? For me. So when we do a riff, here's a good tip for everybody. Riffs. We didn't get into this too much, but doing a riff is just doing a vowel on a scale. So instead of for me, like trying to hit the word for, think fa. For in your nose. For me. Try that.
For me.
Good. for, and then you can use the for me.
For me.
That's it. Try the whole
All
thing
right.
one more time. Let's try the whole thing.
All right. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky,
Yes.
you know how I feel.
Beautiful.
Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good.
Bro,
Thank you very
that was
much.
beautiful. Great job. You took the advice really, really well. It sounds so good. When you let those vowels ring out, man, you sound fantastic. Really, really good job. Everybody just throw a little one of these up in the chat. That was great. Really,
Thanks,
really, really
man.
great
Had
work.
fun.
All right. So now, who was the other Nas? Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Let me find you. Where are you? Da, 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 da. There are so many people in this.
Benedict was professional. Was so professional, Benedict.
That was really good. Really,
Yeah.
seriously amazing. Okay, I have you. Do you want to do it with the camera on, or do you want to just do it with your audio?
With my audio.
Okay, great. So let's find the first word again. Birds. Birds.
Birds flying high.
And then say,
You know how I feel.
Good.
Sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me.
Sorry, my phone started ringing. Horrible time.
No
So
problem.
here's what I got for you. Two things. You sound great. Again, guys, the pitches have been really, really good. You guys are hearing the notes. Great. Let's find the in-between notes. So I think what you're struggling with is birds high. You got those two bookended notes, right? Now we want birds flying high. Can you hum
Birds,
for me?
birds flying high.
So you were in the right key the first time. Can you hum and find this note? A little bit lower. Good. Walk up that scale. Da 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 da. So that's close. Oh, why is my keyboard not working? There we go.
Birds flying high.
Let's try you up here. This might even be a better place for you. Birds flying high.
Birds flying high.
So that's a better key. So that's one thing off the bat is one of my jobs as a coach is to find the right keys for everybody to sing in. This is a better key for you. So now hum for me. Now let's open up to ah. Good. Can you sing all of the words through that filter? Birds flying high, through that same jaw shape. Birds flying high.
Birds flying high.
Good. You know how I feel. It's a little less enunciation. You know how I feel.
You know how I feel.
Good. Sun in the sky, sun in the sky. Ah, sun in the sky.
Sun in the sky.
You know how I feel.
You know how I feel.
Woo! Now with the breeze, let's do that same scoop. Breeze.
Breeze.
Drifting on by, by.
Drifting on by.
You know, we're not going to close. You know how I feel. Very light.
You know how I feel.
Now, here's the hardest part. The melody here is tricky. It's a new dawn.
It's a new dawn.
And we're going to think, ah, now, eh. It's a new day.
It's a new day.
And then, ah, it's a new life for me.
It's a new life for me.
And I'm feeling good.
And I'm feeling good.
Great. So that's your key. Let's start from the top. And right before we get to It's a New Dawn, pause and I'll give you the notes and let's nail it. Okay?
Yeah.
Chat birds.
It's a new dawn.
So start from birds. So birds flying high. And then stop me right before there. Yep, let's do it.
Birds flying high. You know how I feel. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You know how I feel.
Good.
Sun in the sky. You know how I feel.
Beautiful.
Breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn.
So here's where we stop. It's a new dawn. And start me from there.
It's a new dawn.
Yep. New day.
It's a new day.
So there, it's a new dawn. It's a new day.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day.
It's a new life for me.
It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good.
Nice job. Very, very good. Very, very good.
Thank you.
So what I would tell you to do, because the melody gets a lot higher in that part at the end, right? It goes from all in this box here to suddenly it moves up quite a bit. When you practice this, sing the first part, get that perfectly, like practice that. And then once you get it, do the second part, new dawn, new day, new life, practice that with the recording, and then you put them together. So that's what I would say is, for you, because of the big jump in the melody, now that we have the key right for you, once you get those all tied together, you'll be in good shape. You sound great. Really, really good job.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, excellent. So we're going to do a quick Q&A. I know this went very, very long here. We're just going to do a 5-minute Q&A. Let's just take the first, if anybody has a question, can you just type Q in the chat? And let's just get to as many people as we can. We'll go to 15 here. Okay, Benedict, I see. Why don't you go ahead, Benedict, and then we'll add more as we go. So what is your question, my friend?
Yeah, so I think I'm very near to getting some kind of a mix down.
Yes.
But it still feels very tighty and it doesn't even feel too hard and squeezy, but it just loses all the resonance. Mm-hmm. So when I go from it's just it's so tiny and whiny.
Yes.
I've used a lot of whining techniques, but it stays whiny. I can't get it to resonate in a way.
What I would tell you based on that sound, I actually think there's still. Can you do it for me one more time? There, you have about 10% too much weight from the chest voice in your mix. So here's what I would tell you to do. I don't know what exercises you do, but
Okay.
I would recommend the Goog for you, specifically trying to go to head voice in a high range. So, and doing it, yeah, like I said, in head voice. So instead of, excuse me, like goo 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 goo, like instead of trying to do that,
Mm-hmm.
goo 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 goo, like I'm intentionally going to head voice.
Yes.
Then the final piece of this, which is tricky, is can you do a vocal fry sound? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So give me less. That's give me less like yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, once you master the head voice transition thing, we want to put a little bit of that vocal fry in there. And that is where we get the mix. It's the vocal fry chord closure
Mhm.
with the head resonance. You've got the head resonance, but you're pulling too much weight from the chest voice up. So you have to train with the head voice thing so that your body learns to let go of all of that weight.
Okay, I see. Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. It's actually, you're very close. I had the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time today to show. I had a recording of myself singing
Yeah.
for a long time. Maybe I'll send it to everybody. But that's all it is. You just have to strip a little bit more weight, work with the head voice, and eventually your body will equalize it. You're
Mm-hmm.
sounding very good. Your mix, that is mix. It's just a little
Mm-hmm.
bit over compressed.
Okay, great. I'll try it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Dude, great job, man. Great job. Anybody else have, I think we have time for 2 more. Yes, Elisa? Hi. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, perfect. Hi. Is this a regular class that you guys do, or is there a sign up, or you just do private sessions, or?
So I do. There's 2 things that I do, and I'll. This is a good time to bring it up. So this is just a master class that Pixabay put on that I'm like a guest speaker of. I teach private lessons, and I have a course which I was going to say at the end. Everybody that joined this class gets an extra. It's already on the New Year's discount. You'll get an extra 10% off of my course if you were in this class. So tomorrow I'll have Julia email a special code for my course. I teach private lessons as well. Y'all can go ahead. Let's do it this way. Email this email, hjvoicecoach@gmail.com. That's me. Oops, I sent that to just Julia. That was an accident. Everyone in meeting. Here, let's do that again. So this is my email. Please reach out about lessons. I'm thinking about starting a group class this year, like a master monthly class. So maybe what everyone could do, if that's something you'd be interested in, just send me an email. And if you want private lessons, same thing, send me an email. But yeah, this is just a one-off class with Pixabay, but we do have ways that you'll be able to continue to connect with both of us.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. And then Ben.
Hey, I have a question with sometimes I have a problem that breathing in, to automate it. So I'm thinking too much about in a part where I have to like get the air back in and then I lose my rhythm or I get.
How long have you been singing for?
2 years, something.
Okay, cool. I would
on
say,
and off.
Right. So a good technique that's helped me, once you do the lying down thing where you're looking up and you're breathing into your stomach, like that's really, really good. Practice. It's like, you do watch, like, have you ever seen a horror movie or like a scary movie, anything like that? The jump scare breath. That's a really good technique. You have to make sure it's low. So you have to practice it while you're lying on the couch doing this, like. I think sometimes when people try to inhale really slowly and fill up, you think a lot, right? You're like, oh, I gotta breathe in here. The jump scare breath, just practice it throughout the day, like. And I want you to think of one thing: ribs out. So jump scare breath, ribs out. That's it. Just. That will be enough for you to take in the air and get the low breath, and it'll get you out of your head a little bit. I had the same thing for a long time. I would be obsessed with breathing perfectly, and I would be thinking so much, oh my God, I got to breathe low.
Yeah.
practice that jump scare breath because it'll train your body to take in enough air and you won't even have to think about it anymore.
Okay, cool, perfect. Thank you.
Try that while you're lying down too, looking up at the ceiling. It'll help.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. No worries. This was a lot of fun, guys. Did everybody have a good time? Thumbs up, thumbs down, hopefully thumbs up. Awesome. Looks like a lot of thumbs up. All right.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will upload this workshop on YouTube so you can watch it again or share it with others. Also, we have more upcoming free workshops and webinars. So if you don't want to miss out on any of those, don't forget to join Pixabay today. And then you can find the vocal warm-ups in the link I shared in the chat. So if you want to continue practicing all of these. So that's all for today. Thank you so much. We hope this workshop has helped you unlock your voice and spark motivation and how to continue your vocal journey. So it's been absolutely incredible. We've learned a lot. Thank you so much, Harry, for guiding us today and sharing the joy of singing with us. It's been
yes, thank you guys. This was great.
Yeah.
Thank you guys all for being here. Hope you had fun. And yeah, keep in touch.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.